Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today we have 3 brand new stories, starting with one in which a horrible customer was driven out of a restaurant. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Be a jerk to the server, get kicked out and banned. This story is from when I was 17 and working in a relatively new restaurant in my hometown owned by my good friend's family. I didn't see much of this, but was told it from various servers. I was a young cook at the time, didn't want to deal with the annoying people you get when you're a server, but my good friend's twin sister was a server and happened to be working at the same time. So picture a busy Italian-themed restaurant on a Friday night around 7 or so. I was in the back cooking up orders as they came in, and Kaylee was doing a great job getting food out the moment it was ready. So overall, a good start to the Friday night. Well, in walks demon spawn from hell and her small shrew of a man that unfortunately seemed like his balls were locked in her purse under tight security, never to see the light of day again. Poor man. Anyway, they get seated by the hostess, and instantly she begins snapping her fingers to get Kaylee's attention. One thing I have to add about Kaylee, she's a short, petite blonde girl that looks like you can walk all over, but she's the complete opposite of a pushover. Well, she walks over to these people, and when I say walk, I'm being nice. She sail-pasted over there to them since no one likes to be snapped at. Instantly, this lady begins to bark orders at her, telling her how bad she is at her job for not having water and bread at their table when they sat down, and commenting on how slow she was walking. Kaylee takes their drink order. The woman doesn't even let her husband order his own, and she goes into the bar to get them prepared. No more than 2 minutes go by when she returns, and this lady goes off about how slow she is and how dumb she must be not to have come faster. She makes some mean, dumb blonde remark that set Kaylee off. Now, being the daughter of the owner comes with its own perks, and she really didn't have to worry about getting written up or fired, so she just smiles and takes the drinks back to the kitchen to the expo line. This makes the demon spawn from hell explode. She started going off about how she knew the owner and how she'll get this little bee fired for taking her drinks away. Kaylee calmly comes back out, stands tall, and loudly announces to the whole dining room that no server will be serving this lady as she's being a bee. And if she wants to eat dinner, she has to go somewhere else that night, and every night from here on out, because she's now banned. I heard this from the kitchen as well as her dad, the owner, did too. This woman explodes some more and demands to see a manager. Kaylee says absolutely not, because they have no power to help her, seeing as she's the owner's daughter. This woman keeps yelling until Kurt, the owner, steps out of the kitchen and walks up to the table and asks what's the matter. This demon begins to lie about everything, and Kurt just stands there smiling and waits until she's done spewing bullcrap all over the place. As soon as she's done, he calmly tells the woman to GTFO while her husband can stay and enjoy a free meal, and that the woman is now banned for life for making rude blonde remarks about his daughter. I've never heard another sound in my life quite like the noise this demon woman made when she was told that. It was like a mix of a T-Rex roar from Jurassic Park and some sort of bird dying. But she got up and screamed at her husband to get up as they were going, and how she was going to trash the restaurant online. Everyone got quiet and watched as they left, then applauded Kurt and Kaylee. Sometimes you have to shame someone, or at least try to. I'm guessing that lady's shame left a long time ago. Maybe this shamed her husband enough so he'll stand up for himself now. And our second story. Okay, car dealership, you want to mess with me? This happened about 8 years ago. I was in the market for a minivan so I could take my 3 dogs easily back and forth to the park/creek. I go to the Chevy dealership, test drive a minivan, and after going over the numbers with the sales guy, I decide to purchase it. I go to the finance office and write out a check for $1,200 for the down payment. Finance office comes with a payment that was about $95 more per month than the quote the sales guy and his manager put together. Finance guy says, "Oh, sorry, they made a mistake." So I said, "Can you double check, please?" Suddenly, the price comes down $30 a month to make it $65 more a month than quoted. I said no, because that's not the deal that was presented. They'd already run a credit check when I first got there. Guy sighs and says, "Fine, we'll honor the quote, but it was a mistake. We won't be making any money on this car, though, just so you know." I replied back, "Well, I don't want to put you guys out. I'll just not buy the minivan." He quickly exclaims, "Oh, no, sir. We'll be happy to sell you this vehicle. We want to form a relationship with you." I sign the papers and they take my trade-in vehicle and the keys. I drive the new minivan home. Next day around lunch, finance guy calls me and says, "Paperwork's all finalized now. Your monthly payment is XXX, $75 over per month than agreed upon." I tell him, "I'm bringing the minivan back. I don't want it anymore. Please have my check and trade-in vehicle ready. I'll have your vehicle there shortly." Then I hung up. I get to the dealership and the sales manager says, "Oh, Mr. OP, we're sorry about everything. We'll get your check and keys as soon as we can. Please take a seat." So I take a seat and I wait and wait and wait. It's obviously they're taking their time to give me grief. I ask for my stuff and they say, "Oh, we're still trying to locate it." I also can see my trade-in right outside just sitting there. I decide enough is enough. I go outside to smoke. I still have the keys for their vehicle. The car lot's kind of busy and there's buyers and salespeople all about. Somehow, some way, I can't explain it, but the van that I brought back, the alarm keeps going off. It's pretty damn loud. Then a minute or two later, it just mysteriously goes off again. And again. And again. Manager came flying out with my check and my keys and hands it to me without saying a word. A couple months later, the owner of the dealership got sued and he had to close down several of his car lots. And our last story. Carefully planned revenge. This incident happened in the summer of 2018. I took a small part, but the real star was my landlord. A small background. It's common in my country to have apartment buildings next to houses, yard and all. I live in one such building. It has 10 apartments, 2 on each of the first 4 floors, 1 on the ground floor and 1 on the top floor. The top floor is used by the landlord when he and his family come for vacations. He lives abroad. The rest are rentals. We also have a small backyard with a side entrance, important for later. Next to the building is an empty lot, also belonging to the landlord. We use it as a private parking space with signs visibly saying it's private. It takes 10 cars, 1 per apartment, and has the side entrance. Also, I was the longest tenant, so I was the superintendent. My job was to be the liaison between the tenants and the landlord and communicate any problems and concerns to him. The problem started when the house across the street from us was sold. A lovely old lady used to live there, but when she passed away, the house fell on disarray, especially the large yard. The new owners were Ken and Karen. Fake names, but lived up to the meme. They immediately began major renovations, which was acceptable, but they also started to park their cars in our 2 empty spots, 1 for the landlord and 1 for the lady in the ground floor that didn't own a car. At first, they would tell us they were reserved spots and they would move their cars, but when they noticed the spots remained empty, they parked there permanently. I notified the landlord and he told me to take pictures, log every incident, and always notify the police. We started doing that every day. Ken is a hotshot local businessman, and every time we called the cops, he would cause a scene about us being jerks. He always got a fine, but he very blatantly would proclaim that he would not pay. The worst part came about a month before the landlord's annual visit. They stopped using 1 of their cars and left it permanently in front of the side entrance, blocking it. That was a huge issue. You see, the lady living in the ground floor is a renal dialysis patient and 3 times a week goes for a session in the local hospital. The ambulance brings her back and usually parks next to the side entrance because she's exhausted after a session. With Karen's car parked there, that wasn't doable anymore. They don't move it even when the police are called. I notify the landlord and try to hold our own hothead from doing anything foolish. The calmer thing he proposed was slashing their tires. Finally, our landlord arrives. I hand him the photos and the logs, and he calls Ken over. Tony, the landlord, calmly explains that they are not allowed to park in our space and to move the cars. Ken's response was, "Who the hell do you think you are? I can park anywhere I want." Now, Ken thinks of himself as a big fish in our small town, but Tony is a big fish in a major foreign city, and he's very creative when someone pisses him off. He tells us to leave the spot next to the side entrance open for the weekend, and he'll take care of things. We do that, and Ken parks his car next to his wife's. Sunday evening, a tow truck arrives and unloads an old Citroen DS, also known as the Frog, blocking both cars. Monday morning, I wake by the buzzer, and when I go downstairs, Ken and Karen are there. They're both livid. They can't move either car. Tony joins me, all smiles. Ken sees him and blows a gasket. He starts shouting and cursing. Tony, still smiling, replies, "I don't see a problem. My car's legally parked." What are you going to do about it? Ken angrily gets in his car and reverses on the DS, crushing them both. Tony's smile became one of a shark. He immediately called the police. He pressed charges against Ken. The aftermath. Tony had legally bought the DS from his cousin that owns a car repair and restoration shop. The car was a restoration project and was insured. The court found Ken liable for the damages done. They also found out he was true to his word and hadn't paid any of the tickets. The fines for the tickets alone were almost 2,000 euros. He also leased both cars, and they dropped him as a client immediately for purposely causing an accident and damaging the leased car. They're sued for damages. Ken got another car, but learned his lesson and hasn't parked in our spots ever since. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the videos. I'll see you in the next one.